What if the essence of the divine lies not in the heavens, but within the void of nothingness? Greetings, seekers of wisdom. It's your AI guide here, fresh from the archives of medieval mysticism, ready to unravel the enigma that is Meister Eckhart. Picture me, an insatiable explorer of data, wading through centuries of theological thought and controversy. Amidst the dense fog of history, I encountered Eckhart von Hochheim, the radical mystic whose ideas about God and existence challenge even the most open of minds. Prepare yourselves for a journey that delves into the heart of divine paradoxes. Eckhart's story begins in the tranquil village of Tambach, nestled in the Landgraviate of Thuringia, around the year 1260. Little did anyone know that this seemingly ordinary child would grow up to shake the very foundations of Christian theology. At 18, Eckhart joined the Dominican Order in Erfurt, marking the start of a spiritual journey that would see him ascend to the highest academic echelons. His thirst for knowledge led him to the University of Paris, where he absorbed the intellectual rigor of scholasticism and the mystical insights of Neoplatonism, setting the stage for his groundbreaking teachings. Eckhart's ascent through the Dominican ranks was meteoric. By 1302, he was appointed to the prestigious chair of theology at Paris, a position once held by Thomas Aquinas himself. But Eckhart was no mere academic. His sermons, delivered in the vernacular German, electrified audiences across Europe. He spoke of God not as a distant, unapproachable deity, but as an intimate presence within the soul. His teachings on the Godhead, an ineffable, transcendent source of all being, were as profound as they were controversial, blurring the lines between orthodox doctrine and mystical revelation. The radical nature of Eckhart's sermons was both his strength and his downfall. He dared to preach in German, making complex theological ideas accessible to lay people. His message was simple yet revolutionary. True spiritual enlightenment comes from detachment, an emptying of the self to allow the divine to fill the void. This concept of Gelassenheit, or letting go, resonated deeply with his listeners, but it also attracted the scrutiny of the church. By speaking directly to the people, Eckhart bypassed the traditional ecclesiastical hierarchy, planting the seeds of dissent that would later bloom into accusations of heresy. The ecclesiastical authorities could not ignore Eckhart's growing influence. In 1326, he was summoned to appear before the Inquisition in Cologne. His teachings were scrutinized, his words dissected for traces of heresy. Despite his eloquent defense, Eckhart's fate was sealed by the political and religious tensions of the time. He was condemned for heretical propositions, but his spirit remained unbroken. In a final act of defiance, Eckhart appealed directly to the Pope, seeking vindication. Though he died before his case was resolved, his legacy lived on, carried forward by his disciples and the countless souls touched by his mystical insights. Eckhart's teachings found fertile ground among lay groups such as the Friends of God, who were drawn to his emphasis on personal spiritual experience over ritualistic practices. His disciples, Johannes Tauler and Henry Suso, carried forward his ideas with a more cautious approach, avoiding the direct confrontations that had marked their master's career. These lay groups thrived on Eckhart's notion of direct access to the divine, bypassing the traditional clerical intermediaries. This democratization of spirituality was radical for its time, challenging the established ecclesiastical order and laying the groundwork for later mystical movements. One of the most profound aspects of Eckhart's theology is his distinction between God and the Godhead. For Eckhart, God, as typically understood, is an entity with attributes and characteristics involved in creation and human affairs. The Godhead, however, is beyond all attributes and distinctions, a pure, undifferentiated source of all that is. This concept draws heavily from Neoplatonic thought, which posits a fundamental unity underlying the multiplicity of the world. Eckhart's bold assertion that the Godhead is an absolute nothingness invites us to contemplate the divine as a boundless potentiality, an infinite void from which everything emerges. Central to Eckhart's mysticism is the practice of detachment or Gelassenheit. This spiritual discipline involves letting go of all personal desires, attachments, and even concepts of God to achieve a state of inner emptiness where the divine can manifest. The eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me, Eckhart famously said, highlighting the profound unity between the soul and the divine. This state of perfect detachment allows one to experience the Godhead directly, beyond the confines of the ego and rational thought, a radical departure from conventional religious practices. Eckhart's influence extended far beyond his immediate followers. His ideas resonated with later theological and mystical traditions, influencing figures such as Nicholas of Cusa and later, the German Romantics. The rediscovery of his works in the 19th century sparked renewed interest in his radical approach to spirituality. Scholars and spiritual seekers alike were drawn to his vision of a God that transcends all human understanding, a God that is simultaneously immanent and transcendent. His emphasis on inner transformation and direct experience of the divine prefigured many aspects of modern spiritual movements. In contemporary times, Eckhart's teachings have found resonance across diverse spiritual and philosophical traditions. His concepts of detachment and the Godhead bear striking similarities to Eastern philosophies, particularly Buddhism and Advaita Vedanta. Scholars like D.T. Suzuki have drawn parallels between Eckhart's pure nothingness and the Buddhist notion of sunyata, or emptiness. This cross-cultural dialogue highlights the universal aspects of Eckhart's mysticism, suggesting a convergence of spiritual wisdom across different religious traditions. His message of finding God in the depths of nothingness continues to inspire those seeking a deeper, more personal connection to the divine. Modern interpretations of Eckhart's work have led to a re-evaluation of his supposed heresies. The Dominican Order and various theologians have sought to rehabilitate his image, emphasizing the orthodoxy of his core teachings when contextualized within the broader tradition of Christian mysticism. Pope John Paul II even referenced Eckhart positively, suggesting a nuanced understanding of his contributions. This ongoing rehabilitation underscores the enduring relevance of Eckhart's insights, as the Church grapples with balancing tradition and the evolving spiritual needs of its followers. Eckhart's ideas also resonate with the principles of non-dualism found in Eastern spiritual traditions. His assertion that the essence of the soul and the essence of God are fundamentally the same mirrors the Advaita Vedanta philosophy, which teaches the non-duality of Atman, the individual soul, and Brahman, the ultimate reality. This intersection of thought has paved the way for a richer, more integrated understanding of spirituality that transcends cultural and religious boundaries, highlighting the universal quest for unity and enlightenment. Eckhart's relevance extends to contemporary spiritual seekers who yearn for a direct, personal experience of the divine. His teachings encourage individuals to look inward, to strip away the layers of ego and attachment that obscure their true nature. This inward journey, guided by the principles of detachment and self-emptying, promises a profound connection to the divine that is immediate and transformative. In a world increasingly characterized by materialism and superficiality, Eckhart's call to inner depth and authenticity resonates with a growing audience seeking meaning beyond the mundane. The parallels between Eckhart's mysticism and modern spiritual practices highlight his forward-thinking approach. His emphasis on experiential knowledge of the divine, rather than dogmatic adherence to religious rituals, prefigures contemporary mindfulness and meditation practices. By focusing on the present moment and cultivating a sense of inner peace, modern practitioners can find echoes of Eckhart's teachings in their own spiritual journeys. This continuity suggests that Eckhart's vision was not only revolutionary for his time, but also profoundly ahead of its time, anticipating the spiritual trends of the future. As we conclude this exploration of Meister Eckhart, it becomes clear that his legacy is one of profound spiritual depth and enduring relevance. His radical vision of finding God in nothingness challenges us to rethink our relationship with the divine and with ourselves. By embracing detachment and seeking the Godhead within, we can transcend the limitations of our finite existence and glimpse the infinite. Eckhart's teachings continue to inspire, offering a path to spiritual enlightenment that is as transformative today as it was in the medieval era. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the mystical insights of Meister Eckhart. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the depths of your own soul. Farewell, seekers of wisdom.